What's up everyone, how's it going? Simon here from CD Revival. Hope you're all good. Today I'm doing a ranking video. Ranking video for the band The Prodigy, which is a little bit different to the ranking videos that I've generally done. Usually I sort of go for hard rock, metal sort of rankings, but The Prodigy I think are a band that are well worth having a ranking done of them. Pretty big fan of theirs, have been since their first album, and yeah, I think they're pretty interesting. They've been going since the early 90s, did an EP first, When Evil Lurks, What Evil Lurks, which was a 4-track sort of EP, which is pretty decent, like very sort of techno rave based. And then they've gone on since then. They've only done since, well, they've been going for what, so 30 years now, 30 odd years. Only done 7 studio albums, which is not particularly prolific. Started off the band with Liam Howlett, who's the main guy, does pretty much all the music. Keith Flint, sadly no longer with us, doing vocals, was originally a dancer. Leroy Thornhill, originally a dancer, only did the first 3 albums with them. And Maxim Reality, who's a vocals hype man, whatever you want to call him, is still with them, so it's only really two members left now. Been doing some gigs recently. Apparently there might be some new music on the way, so we'll look forward to that if that does happen. But yeah, so if you're not a massive fan of the music, you know, maybe stay tuned in, and you know, you might, you know, hear something that makes you think, oh, I'll check that out, because they're pretty much worth checking out, I think. Anyway, on with the rankings. So 7 albums to get through. First album, or like number 7 on my ranking, is the album Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned. This one came out in, I think, 2004. This is their 4th album. So the reason this is my least favourite is because I think the tracks are the weakest set of tracks that they've done. There are some good stuff on it. It does veer away from, I don't know. I think this is the most band, so the most collaborations with the rest of the band, not just Liam on it, but it's got some good stuff. Spitfire, the opening track's quite good. The track Girls is pretty good, and Hot Ride probably another good one. The Way It is yeah, pretty cool. Samples the hook from Michael Jackson's Thriller pretty well. But generally speaking, I don't think it's a massively strong set of songs. I think that maybe they were in a bit of a not too sure what they were doing at the time, musically wise. So by no means a bad album, but definitely 100% my least favourite of their albums. So worth checking out if you haven't heard it, but don't expect miracles on this one, because it's okay at best. It's, you know, well, maybe some stuff's good, but anyway, that's my number 7. Number 6, I've got this one, The Day Is My Enemy. This one is from 2015. This is their 6th album. Some good stuff on here, way better than Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned. It's a bit more of a harder edged album. Title track's good. Nasty, really good track as well. Rebel Radio is really good. Wild Frontier, also really good. Quite a lot of vocals on this one, things like Get Your Fight On and Ibiza, which is not the best track either, to be honest with you. Rockweiler, Rhythm Bombs, it's got quite a lot of Rhythm Bombs a good track as well. But yeah, this one definitely less, they're still very electronic, but more of the sort of electronic punk kind of feel to it, I suppose. So by no means a bad album from 2015, but lacking a little bit, I think, in sort of terms of just like real like class all the way through, but still worth checking out, and pretty decent. Number 5, I have got from 2009, Invaders Must Die. This is their 5th album. This one is pretty much a banger. This one and the next one, there was not much between them, to be honest with you, as far as like ranking goes. This one opens really well with the title track. Omen is a fantastic track, which is reminiscent of their older stuff, and Thunder as well. It's a lot more dance orientated. Take Me to the Hospital, Warriors Dance, really good. Um, World's on Fire is okay. You've got a few filler tracks like Piranha. Stand Up's not fantastic. Stand Up sort of is quite sort of Fatboy Slim-esque. They did start to go into sort of big beat style, especially with Always Outnumbered, Never Outgunned as well. That was quite sort of big beat-esque. But yeah, good album. So starts off really, really well. First three tracks are really like excellent start to the album, but it does tail off a little bit after that. But still a really good album from 2009, and that is Invaders Must Die. My number 4 is their last album at the moment, as of recording this, from 2018, No Tourists. This is their 7th album in total. I'd say it's the last one they did before Keith passed away. Once again, starts off really good. Need Someone, Light Up the Sky, and We Live Forever, 3 fantastic opening tracks. Then No Tourists slows it down a little bit. You've got things like Time Bomb Zone, Resonates, really good, Give Me a Signal. They're all really good tracks, and they are a lot more sort of like their older stuff, I think. Less of the sort of like electronic punk kind of style stuff, although there's things like Champions of London, which is very reminiscent of that, and Fight Fire with Fire. So some quite hard edge stuff, but yeah, very like really cool album. I really like this one actually. Was a good, for me, return to form. So let me know what you think of that one. So that's my number 4, No Tourists from 2018, 7th album. Top 3 are all like real bangers. You may have them in a different order to me. And they're all got like sentimental value as well. Mrs. CD was asking me last night when I was putting this together, about how I rank stuff and whether sentimentality plays a part in them, and it definitely does to a degree. I think you like stuff more depending on the time that you listen to it, and it reminds you of different stuff. And all 3 of these have a lot of good memories for me. But yeah, number 3, I have got probably their most famous, most popular album, Fat of the Land, from 1997, which is their 3rd album. Firestarter is on this album. Everyone knows that one. By a long way, their most famous song. Breathe as well was a really big hit. Smack My Bitch Up, controversial hit as well. And things like the deeper cuts like Minefields and Narayan, I think are probably 2 of the best tracks on here. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of filler on here. Like they say, they did start to go into the vocal sort of stuff more, like with Firestarter, things like Diesel Power, Serial Thriller, Fuel My Fire, for example. Could probably live without. So for this album, there's 50% like absolutely superb stuff, and 50% sort of stuff that I could probably skip, to be honest with you. But still a really good album, and the great tracks on here are absolutely great. So that's Fat of the Land from 1997 is my number 3. My number 2 album is Music for the Jilted Generation. This is their 2nd album from 1994. Long album, probably their longest album, I would say. This one is pretty long, and the tracks on it are generally like longer. Still quite instrumental for the most part, and quite sort of techno-y, but with a few things like Voodoo People and Poison, which are more, so especially Poison, which has got like the vocal kind of, you could see where they were sort of going. And Their Law, for example. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here that's sort of longer, like things like Orbital would do. So they've gone for like things like the Break It Enter, and like Speedway, Heat the Energy. You can see that there was yeah, a bit of a, it's almost sort of like prog techno almost in a way, with longer tracks. Finishes off with the Narcotic Suite, which is 3 tracks kind of go together, which honestly I'm not a massive fan of. 3 Kilos, I don't really like that track. Skyline's bit sort of ambient and doesn't really do much. Claustrophobic Sting, is definitely the best of the 3, with its sort of 303 sort of acid house style bleepings going on. So a really good track to finish it off. But yeah, the decent stuff is things like Voodoo People, Poison, No Good, Start the Dance, Breaking It, Full Throttle as well, really good. So really good album, but with a few tracks that I would tend to skip and yeah, not overly keen on, but still my number 2, Music for the Jilted Generation, second album from 1994. So that just leaves their first album, Prodigy Experience, as my number 1 from 1992. It's always a bit disappointing in a way when it's like, well, you know, the first album's the best album, but say not necessarily in everyone's opinion. But this album for me is all killer, no filler. There's not a bad track on here. Just phenomenal all the way from start to finish. So you've got Jericho to start off with, Music Reach, Wind It Up, remix of an older single, Your Love, Hyperspeed, which is excellent. You've got a remix of Charlie, which was their first big hit, if you like. It's got Out of Space on it, Everybody in the Place, which is another remix version of that single. Weather Experience, which is decent. Fire, which is really good. Rough in the Jungle Business, and then Live, Death of the Prodigy Dancers, which is a real sort of hardcore techno track. But yeah, if you like old school techno and kind of breakbeat house, if you like, which I did love back in the day. So this one for me will always be my favourite. I think it's a phenomenal techno album, and you know, they were at that time the best for me of those sort of acts, if you like. So number 1, Prodigy Experience from 1992, first album, and still, I don't think they'll ever better that, but you never know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the ranking. I say it's something a bit different. I will be going on to do the rest of my CD collection, which goes into T, so loads of rock and metal in there. And I bought a few bits during January, so the next video will be an update on things that I've picked up in the last few weeks. So some interesting stuff. So yeah, hopefully you'll be tuning in for that one. Appreciate all the new subscribers, and appreciate everyone that watches my videos. Really, thanks very much. So take it easy, and I will catch you on for the next one. Cheers.